Hey guys, this is Zachariah Slaughter. Hello and welcome to another video. And you know what? I don't like being negative about Star Wars things. I love Star Wars. I want to talk about good Star Wars news. I want to be positive about upcoming and current Star Wars projects, and I just don't want to spend most of my time fostering a negative community, which is why I think it's important to do videos like today's. Before we begin though, I do want to talk about something else that's positive. I did just finish Into the Storm, which is sort of the second main book in the High Republic. I was very lukewarm on book one. I think I gave it like a B- or a C+ review overall. Into the Storm without spoilers is much better. One of my favorite Star Wars books I've read recently. So if you want to hear me talk about that, I will be doing so tomorrow live on this channel with my friends Corey from Corey Loses and Alex from Star Wars Explained. With that being said, let's get on with the content. And ever since that day where we got, it seems like, a dozen new Star Wars projects announced, there has been one which I am far and away the most excited for. That, of course, is Star Wars Rogue Squadron. It was not only to the subject matter, which we'll get back to in a second, for Rogue Squadron that really excited me, but also just the apparent attitude, I guess, around the production. Pretty much everything that was said kind of hit off right with me. Patty Jenkins is, of course, to be the director, and she seems to be a huge fan of dogfighting movies, and I believe her dad was a pilot, and she's basically just saying all of the right things, at least for me. Anyway, yesterday we got a short interview from the Associated Press, and really it just went on to make me even more excited about the future of this movie. So let's go through the interview, which is very short, and pick out some key points. First of all is the fact that Patty Jenkins confirms that Rogue Squadron is the next film that she will be working on before the next Wonder Woman or anything else. Which makes sense because we did hear about 6 months ago that they were pretty much done the story treatment from what I understand, and that they were ready to move on to the next stage of production. It's hard to say exactly where the movie is right now, but it seems like it will definitely be meeting its supposed 2023 release date. On that note, I'm really excited for the return of Star Wars Christmas time. I really loved that between 2015 and 2019, so it'll be great to have that back as an ordinary staple. The next thing that got me really excited was her reference to Michael Stackpole and his Rogue Squadron books, and of course the Rogue Squadron video game. She says game, really the first one is the most famous, but there were others. But this is what really got my ears perked, because the Rogue Squadron novels, the X-Wing novels really they're called in Star Wars Legends, are some of the best books in all of the EU. So good, by the way, that the first book in the X-Wing series, Rogue Squadron itself, has been chosen for the Star Wars Legends Essentials collection, and we'll be getting a new unabridged audiobook, as I talked about a few days ago. I've got to say, it is refreshing that someone is looking to these old stories and finding value in them. And, you know, these are somewhat obscure to the ordinary Star Wars fan. If you ask the random person in the movie theater watching a Star Wars movie if they know what Rogue Squadron is, they may, but they probably have never heard of the books or never read the books. So to me, for the director to say that she's looking at these as a source of inspiration is really promising. But I mean, she also makes it very clear that this isn't just going to be a remake. I don't think anybody really thought that would be the case. She's going to try to translate what worked from those series to a new era. What does that mean? Well, I think a big focus of the movie, as is common in these sort of things, will be the relationships between the pilots. And I mean, I think back to those X-Wing novels, and although of course some of the plot points are a little bit fuzzy in my head and I can't remember the name of every character, the thing I do remember is how I felt when reading them, how the camaraderie of the squad was really focused on, how they do the missions together, how really anyone can die at any given moment, even these characters that you've grown to love, except for Wedge and Corrin, of course. Everyone knows they're untouchable. But alongside that are these big set pieces, these space battles, and these are serious books, but they never take themselves seriously, I guess is what I'd say, or at least never take themselves too seriously. And there are poignant moments. I think of the death of Ton Fannin in the Wraith Squadron arc, for example. That's one of the saddest and, you know, most touching moments in Star Wars Legends, and it's in this series. What I mean though is there's a sort of sense of optimism. I mentioned the camaraderie, but there's also a fun to things. You shouldn't be going for something like Saving Private Ryan in terms of tone. They're a lot like Top Gun. I mean, that's the obvious comparison, but that movie really captures the feel of the books, or I guess I should say, the books really capture the feel of that movie. So that's what I would hope for from that perspective. I'm going to jump forward in the interview a little bit, but she also says you're trying to bring the best of yourself and use it to make something beautiful that honors the legacy before you. And I think for a movie like this, yes, that's what we want. I don't think Rogue Squadron, the movie, should be redefining what we think of Star Wars as a genre. This is more like something akin to Rogue One, something that exists in the universe, largely geared towards Star Wars fans. I will also say, Patty only follows like 500 people on Twitter, and I saw she follows Michael Stackpole. So yeah, I'm excited from that perspective. She then goes on to talk about it as making the great fighter pilot movie. Again, something that I'm super excited for. I'm basically down for anything involving planes, even that crappy movie Stealth from the mid-2000s. So yeah, even if it wasn't a Star Wars movie, I think I'd be excited from that perspective alone. In the interview, she also mentions moving into a new era, and this is something that we heard Kathleen Kennedy mention as well when the movie was announced, and this is the thing that I find really interesting. Does new era mean a new era of filmmaking, or does it mean a new era within the universe? I've always suspected the latter. It's my opinion that Rogue Squadron will probably be set after Star Wars Episode 9 and will sort of set off the foundations for that post-Exegol, I guess, universe. I think it's in Disney's best interest to move past the sequel trilogy. For one, the sequel trilogy happens in like a year. There's not that much story to be told within that timeline, outside of the movies at least. And I also think that the period between Endor and Episode 7 can't get too complicated and it can't get too busy. We've had books set relatively late in that time period. We've had The Force Awakens and whatnot. There's sort of a limit to the amount of events that you can fill into that era without it being strange that they weren't mentioned at any point or that they didn't have a bigger effect on the galaxy. Like, you can't have the Yuuzhan Vong invade because it'd be really weird for them not to have gotten a name drop at some point, or for the New Republic to have not been changed by that. It's been a period of peace, so I think it makes sense to move to this clean slate. And I've also sort of advocated for this too. As I said, we've got a clean slate, but we also get to keep the characters of the sequel trilogy, and I kind of think that those characters were the best thing that the sequel trilogy offered. I really like Rey, Poe, and Finn. I liked Ben Solo / Kylo Ren as well. He probably won't be appearing at least in Rogue Squadron. And you can also fit a lot of the sort of characters or character archetypes that existed in the post-Endor part of Star Wars Legends now in this new post-Exegol time period. Like, there's no reason you couldn't have a Tycho Selku or a Corran Horn, whether by the same name or different, now fitting into the New Republic. Who will they be fighting? I don't know. First Order holdouts, maybe with a new emerging villain. I'm not sure. I don't know what the story will tell. I just hope it's something different. I'm sort of done with the Galactic Civil War. I want to look at something new. If we do Rogue Squadron in the sort of 30, 40 ABY time period, then we can also continue using Poe. Like, Oscar Isaac could be in Star Wars Rogue Squadron, and we could even have Wedge as well. Probably not as a pilot, but maybe as a flight instructor or something. I would be super cool with that. That, however, guys, is all I have. Until next time, please be safe, have a good one, and may the Force be with you.